All right, so for reading today, we are ready to start in our next group of chapters, 87 through 98. So go ahead and go into your reading classroom, and you'll see that I posted a new assignment in there for you for chapters 87 through 98. Now, I set this up a little differently for you in different places, not up here, but look down here at the bottom, the character analysis. So it says to compare and contrast Julia and Mac. So when you compare, you're finding things that are similar, right? Kind of the same about them. And when you contrast, it's the differences about them. So if you click on, I have this on present mode, but if you click on, there we go. There we go. Do you see how it's going to have 3 different text boxes for you? I thought that would be easier to set it up that way when you go to compare and contrast them. Another thing that I did a little differently for you, if you go to slide 2, is I did some sentence starters for you. So what are 3 emotions that Ivan feels in these chapters? So the emotions Ivan feels are whatever, but then you have to tell why he feels each of those. Okay, so I've just started out each of those sentences. I didn't on the prediction one, but there's 3 parts on number 2 there. How and why does Ivan get so angry in these chapters? So I started that answer with Ivan gets angry because, and then what does he do to show his anger? He shows his anger, and you'll just keep typing on from there. And then how do Julia and George respond to this? Julia, oh, I spelled George wrong. You guys want to go in and fix George? I flip-flopped the O and the E.
I already did that.
You can right-click George's name.
Yeah. That's what we did.
And it fixes it for you.
That's what I did.
Sheesh, how did I not notice that? Okay, then this last part, not the last part, but the prediction. What do you predict will happen next? That won't be done until we read all of these chapters in this section. Okay, the beyond part says Ivan tries to communicate a very important message to Julia, but he can't use words or language to do it. So you're pretending like he can talk. And what you're going to do is you're going to write a letter to Julia pretending that you're Ivan. You're writing a letter to her, and you're going to type in what you think he would say to her in that letter. So I started the letter, Dear Julia, because that's who he's writing a letter to. All right, we can go over these a little bit more as we're reading. But let's go back to slide 1. The quick write. Friends, has there ever been a time you've been angry or mad about something? I think we've all had that emotion, haven't we? All right. So write about a time that you were very angry or very mad, and think about what made you mad and what did you do as a result of your anger. Maybe you got in a fight with your brother or your sister, or maybe you kicked the wall. I don't know. What did you do? So write about the time that you were angry. What made you angry, and what did you do as a result of your anger? Maybe you're one that just walks away and goes to your room and just screams into your pillow. I don't know. What What did you do that time that you were so angry? Go ahead and type that in. We'll do this for 4 minutes. You'll have 4 minutes to complete this. Okay, finish up the sentence that you are currently typing. Okay, let's take a look at this vocabulary part. So go ahead and get your vocabulary pages out. We're specifically looking at the 87 through 98 section. And you'll see the vocabulary words over here. This first word is spacious. Spacious means roomy and big. Temperamental means moody. Have you ever been moody before? Dismay means distress. Like if you're kind of stressed out feeling, you're kind of worked up about things. And then sullenly, that's not one of our words, is it? They have the word towering. Okay, so we'll work on that one together. All right, again, they're having us do the antonyms. And what do antonyms mean? The same or the opposite?
Opposite.
Opposite. So we're finding the opposite meaning of each of these words. So if we work on spacious, temperamental, and dismay first, we can probably figure out what sullenly means. Like if you're a sullen person, you're kind of down, you're gloomy all the time. All right? So if we look at the word spacious, it means roomy and big. Do you see something that means the opposite of roomy and big? Type the word spacious on the line by its antonym. What is the opposite of roomy and big? That's where you will type spacious. Okay, temperamental means moody. Like your mood is changing all the time. People never know what mood you're going to be in. Can you figure out one of these that means the opposite of that? What's the opposite of your mood changing all the time? Any ideas? Do you think it's cheerful, even-tempered, tiny, or joy? It's like you're up here one day and then you're down in the dumps the next day. Or you're here kind of in the middle, and then you're up, and then you're down, and there you're just all over the place. Which one is the opposite of that? What do you think, Lucas? What? No? What do you think?
Even-tempered.
Even-tempered is the opposite of temperamental. Oops. Sorry. Okay, these next two, since they used a different word than what we have, these next two are tricky because we still have dismay and sullenly left. Okay, so on our sheet it says dismay means distress. It means I'm trying to think of another word. Kind of like being down in the dumps in a way. These are tricky though. So I'm guessing, because sullenly means like sulky. Remember how Ivan would sulk? So if you're sulking, you're kind of gloomy. I don't know. Those both sound like they could be either one. How about we just do this? For cheerfully, let's put sullenly, since it also ends with an ly. So beside cheerfully, put sullenly, since they both end with ly there. So then for joy, we would put, what haven't we used yet? Dismay. So beside joy, we'll have dismay. Okay, did you get those four? I can't hear you. Okay, we're going to do some sequencing again, so putting things in the chronological order that they happened. So as we're reading, we're going to decide which event happened first, which one was second, and so on. So Ivan beats his chest in anger. Ivan adds the word home to his painting. Ivan shows Julia his paintings for the first time, but she doesn't understand. Julia finally recognizes the letters in Ivan's painting. And then the last one here is one of Ivan's paintings sells for $40. All right, then like I already said, we're going to compare and contrast Julia and Mac. So we're going to be adding to things that are different about them. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Things that are different about them go on the outsides. Things that are the same or similar about both of them will go in the middle. Okay, so go to the next slide. We'll look at these again. We're going to be watching as we read and listening for 3 emotions that Ivan shows during these chapters. We're going to list those and then explain why he has each of those 3 emotions. Then we're going to be watching for how and why he's angry in these chapters, how he shows his anger in these chapters, and how Julia and George respond. Okay? All right, so let's go into the book. We are on page 188. Title of this chapter is Imagining. It's different now when I paint. I'm not painting what I see in front of me, a banana, an apple. I'm painting what I see in my head, things that don't exist, at least not yet. All right, the next chapter, that was quick. Not tag. I pull out Not Tag's stuffing. Carefully, I fill her with my paintings, hiding them so Mac won't sell them. She's large, bigger than Bob, but I still have to crumple a few of them. Bob tries to settle on her for a nap. You've killed her, he complains. I had to, I say. I miss your stomach, Bob admits. It's so spacious. When Julia arrives, she notices that I've used up my paints and paper. Wow! Julia shakes her head. You are one serious artist, Ivan. On to the next chapter. My finger painting has sold for $40 with frame. Mac is happy. He brings me a huge pile of paper and buckets of paint. Get to work, he says. I paint for Mac during the day and for Ruby at night. I nap when I can. But my nighttime picture isn't quite right. It's big, that's for sure. When I place all the pieces on the floor of my cage side by side, the cement is almost completely covered. But something is still missing. Bob says I'm crazy. There's Ruby, he says, pointing with his nose. There's the zoo. There are other elephants. What's wrong with it? I need one more thing, I say. Bob groans. You're being a temperamental artist. What could be missing? Next page. I stare at the huge expanse of colors and shapes. I don't know how to explain to Bob that it isn't done yet. I'll just have to wait, I say at last. Something will come to me, and then I'll know my painting is finally ready. All right, so let's go back to this, because I believe that one of these was in what we just read. Can you identify which one should have the number 1 beside it? If so, put the 1 beside it. All right. The next chapter is the 7 o'clock show. During the last show of the day, Ruby seems tired. When she stumbles, Mac reaches for the claw stick. I tense, waiting for her to strike back. Ruby doesn't even flinch. She just keeps plodding along, and after a while, Snickers jumps onto her back. 12 is our next chapter. I lie in my cage with Bob on my stomach. We are watching Julia do her homework. She doesn't seem to be enjoying it. I can tell because she is sighing more than usual. Again, for the 100th time, or maybe the 1000th, I wonder what is missing from my painting. And for the 100th time, or maybe the 1000th, I don't have any answer. Dad, Julia says as George passes by with a mop, can I ask you a question? May I, George corrects. Ask away. Julia glances down at a piece of paper. What is the difference between the word spelled Principal and the one spelled Princeple? The first one is the head of a school, like Miss Garcia. The second one is a belief that helps you know what's right or wrong. He smiles. For example, it's against my principles to do my daughter's homework for her. Julia groans. If I'm going to be an artist when I grow up, why do I need to know how to spell? With a laugh, George heads off. Poor Julia, I think. Gorillas get by just fine without learning how to spell. All those endless letters, those sticks and circles and zigzags, filling up books and magazines, billboards and candy wrappers. What's he talking about? Sticks, circles, zigzags.
Letters.
All the letters that make up the words. Words. Humans love their words. I leap up. Bob goes flying straight into my pool. A word. You know how I feel about wet feet, Bob yells. He scrambles out of the water, shaking each foot in dismay. I look out my window at the billboard. I can still hear Mac's voice in my head. Come to the Exit 8 Big Top Mall, Video and Arcade, home of the one and only Ivan, mighty Silverback. I count to 12, and then I count again, just to be sure. The next chapter is H. I lay out 16 pieces of poster board, 4 down, 4 across. A perfect square. What are you up to? Bob demands. I'm guessing it doesn't involve sleep. It has to do with the billboard. That sign's a monstrosity, particularly since I'm not featured. I grab my bucket of red paint. You're not on the billboard because you're not in the show, I point out. Technically, I don't even live here, Bob says with a sniff. I am homeless by choice. I know, I'm just saying. I study the billboard, then I make 2 fat lines, like broom handles. Another fat line connects them. I stand back. What do you think? What is it? No, wait, let me guess. A ladder? Not a ladder, I say. A letter? At least, I think that's what they're called. I have to make 3 more. Bob cuddles up to Knot Tag. Why? He asks, yawning. Because then I'll have a word, a very important word. I dip my fingers into the paint. What word? Bob asks. Home. Bob closes his eyes. That's not so important, he says quietly. Can we add our next number to our sequencing? Okay, go ahead and add that. So now you'll have 1 and 2 completed. All right, our next chapter is nervous. All day long I knuckle walk circles around my cage. I'm so nervous I can't nap. I can't even eat. Well, not very much anyway. I'm ready to show Julia what I've made. It has to be Julia. She's an artist. Surely she'll look, truly look at my painting. She won't notice the smudges and tears. She won't care if the pieces don't quite fit together. She'll see past all of that. Surely Julia will see what I've imagined. I watch Ruby trudge sullenly through the 4 o'clock show, and I wonder, what will happen if I fail? What if I can't make Julia understand? But of course I know the answer. Nothing will happen. Ruby will remain the main attraction at the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, conveniently located off I-95, with shows at 2, 4, and 7, 365 days a year, year after year after year. Hold on, friends. I think we were just told one emotion Ivan was having in that chapter that we just read. Do you see what that emotion is? So let's go to our comprehension questions. Question 1. Now, we can't say what all 3 of them are yet, can we?
No.
But we can say what one is. What's one emotion that Ivan said he was feeling in that very chapter we just finished? Go ahead and type in the word after I've started this. The emotions Ivan feels are, type that word in. How did he say he was feeling? It's on page 200 if you're really not sure. And then tell why he was feeling that way. Do you understand why he was feeling that way? How was he feeling? Reese, what did you figure out? Do you agree with Reese that he's nervous? Okay, so do you have nervous typed in there? So the emotions Ivan feels are nervous. And then type because. Nervous because. Why was he nervous? What did he say he was nervous about? Amy?
Showing Julia his pain and hoping that she will understand it.
Yes. Do you agree with what Amy said? If you couldn't hear, she said, the emotions Ivan feels are nervous because he was going to show Julia the painting and hoped she would understand it. So go ahead and type that in. Okay, is everybody about finished? All right, so we're on to page 202, showing Julia. It's time to show my work. The mall is silent, except for Thelma the macaw, who is practicing a new phrase. Uh-oh! Julia is finishing her homework. George is sweeping outside. Mac has gone home for the night. I grab Knot Tag and carefully pull out the folded papers. So many paintings, page after page, piece after piece of my giant puzzle. I pound on my glass, and Julia glances over. Fingers trembling, I hold up one of my paintings. It's brown and green, a corner piece. Julia smiles. I display another picture, and then another, and another, and another, each one a tiny part of the whole. Julia looks confused. But what is it? She asks. She shrugs. It doesn't matter. It's pretty just as it is. Uh-oh, says Thelma. No, I think. No, it does matter. More paintings. George calls out to Julia. He's done for the night. Grab your backpack, he says, and hurry, it's late. Gotta go, Ivan, Julia says. Julia doesn't understand. I have to find the right pieces. I dig through the pile. They're here somewhere. I know they are. I find one, another one, another. I try to hold 4 of them up against the glass. Bob, I say, help me, hurry. Bob grabs painting with his teeth and drags them to me. One by one, I shove pictures through the window crack. They crumple and tear. There are too many pieces. My puzzle is too big. Careful, Ivan, Julia says. Those might be worth millions someday. You never know. She arranges the painting into a neat stack. I suppose Mac's going to want to sell these in the gift shop. She still doesn't understand. I shove more out the hole, and more, all of them, one after another. So Ivan's been painting, has he? George says as he puts on his coat. A lot, says Julia with a laugh. A whole lot. You're not taking all those home with you, are you? George asks. I mean, no offense to Ivan, but they're just blobs. Julia thumbs through the towering stack of paintings. They might not be blobs to Ivan. Let's leave those by the office, George suggests. Mac will want to try selling them. Although why would anyone pay $40 for a finger painting a 2-year-old could do? I don't know. I like Ivan's work, Julia says. He puts his feelings into them. He puts his hair into them, George says. Julia waves goodbye. Night, Ivan. Night, Bob. I press my nose against the glass and watch her walk away. All my work, all my planning, wasted. I look at Ruby, sleeping soundly, and suddenly I know she'll never leave the Big Top Mall. She'll be here forever, just like Stella. I can't let Ruby be another one and only. Chest beating. Often when visitors come to see me, they beat their hands against their puny chests, pretending to be me. They pound away, soundless as the wet wings of a new butterfly. The chest beating of a mad gorilla is not something you ever want to hear. Not even if you're wearing earplugs. Not even if you're 3 miles away wearing earplugs. A real chest beating sends the whole jungle running, as if the sky has broken open, as if men with guns are near. The next chapter is angry. Where are we going to be able to add that to? Emotions. So let's go ahead and go in. Put a period after what you just typed. Say, Ivan also feels angry. So go ahead and type that. Ivan also feels angry because, now, We're going to find out a little bit more about that. So Ivan also feels angry because do you need to pull it back again? All right, so angry. Thump, the sound, my sound, echoes through the mall. George and Julia spin around. Julia drops her backpack. George drops his keys. The pile of pictures goes flying. Thump, thump, thump. I bounce off the walls. I screech and bellow. I beat and beat and beat my chest. Bob hides under knot tag, his paws over his ears. I'm angry at last. I have someone to protect. Why is he so angry?
Because Julia doesn't understand his book.
Because he's not being understood. Okay, why do you think?
Because he actually doesn't, his plan was ruined, so he doesn't want Ruby to be one memory, so he's really mad.
Okay, what are you thinking?
He wants to protect Julia from staying in the hole.
He wants to protect Ruby. Okay, so type what you think his reason for being angry is. So you typed, Ivan is angry because. Now finish the rest of that sentence. After you finish typing that, I'm going to have you put your Ivan book away. Your vocabulary sheet can go back in your folder, and you can close your Chromebook.